It is 7:06 at this time. I will open up the April 22nd, 2021 meeting of the Middleton Zoning Board of Appeals. The first item on the agenda tonight is going to be the March 25th, 2021 ZBA minutes. Did anybody have any questions, comments, edits?
I do.
Ma'am.
Page 2 of the notes, it looks like I'm referred to as Mr. So I don't remember if there was someone else there. I don't really remember what I said exactly, but I know I didn't become Mr. LeBlanc because that's my dad. Okay, it's the last paragraph.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. I thought it was kind of funny because I was racking my brain thinking, was there someone there named Mr. LeBlanc? But it sounded like it was me, so.
I also have something, Kurt.
Go ahead.
Page 4, it says Mr. Benevento asked if the board, in the second sentence, he also added that traffic data was submitted but is not sufficient as it is only a traffic study. That's not right. I said it's only trip generation based on the ITE trip generation manual land use code.
Duly noted. Any other changes, edits? Do we want to table it till next meeting with those changes or just vote on it as amended?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of the March 21st, 2021 ZBA meeting as amended.
So moved. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
And vote?
Rich,
Yes.
Paul, Carolyn?
I don't think I should. Do I vote on it?
You can vote on it.
Even though I wasn't there? Okay, I mean,
Yep.
I did sign the Mullins form, so yeah, yay. Yay, aye, whatever, yes.
Yes, yes.
Craig,
Yes, ma'am.
and I'll vote yes.
All right. We have two new public hearings on the agenda tonight. The first one we're going to hear is 15 Old Haswell Park. The applicants here, I see at least one. If you are here for this application, if you could raise your hand and we'll make you a panelist. All right, Madam Clerk, could you read the public hearing notice?
Okay, the zoning board of appeals will hold a public hearing at 7 p.m. on April 22nd, 2021 via a virtual meeting on the application of Matthew Morneau for a variance from the required setbacks at 15 Old Haswell Park Road to allow the installation of an in-ground pool. The property can be found on Assessor's Map 28, Parcel 61G, plans on file with the town clerk. And it looks like we have a butters, comments, and a list, butters list.
Excellent. And is there anyone here to speak for the applicant? I see Mr. Morneau. And go ahead, sir.
Well, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to come here and speak tonight. As you can see in the plans that I submitted, due to the irregularity of the lot, we're looking for a variance to encroach a little bit on the setbacks on both the side by Galusha Road as well as the abutting property at 5 Galusha in order to accommodate the pool. As you can see, the house is kitty-cornered on the lot, as well as the septic system in the reserve area kind of encompass a lot of the usable land in the backyard. That's why I'm looking to go to the side here.
All right. Thank you. Madam Clerk, was there any correspondence?
Looks like there is. Okay. From the fire department, Chief Martin, the fire department has no issues with 15 Old Haswell Park, nor the assessor's office. Or Kristen Kent from the Concom has no comment. And this is from
This isn't a
a
butter.
butters comment. Do you want to hear this or not?
Sure.
Okay. This is from Leo Baruso, dated April 21st, 2021. Katrina, below are our comments for the variance hearing on 4/22/21 regarding 15 Old Haswell Park. Dear board members, we write because we doubt we will be able to join the virtual meeting regarding 15 Old Haswell Park variance applications. We are direct abutters at number 5 Galusha Road. We have a few items we ask get reviewed as it did not appear to address them in the application nor the plan of land showing the proposed pool. They are number 1, fencing. It is obvious that pools require fencing. Our question is specific to where will it end on the Galusha side of the proposed plan. If it directly on the curbing or too close to the street would pose a snow removal problem during the winter, as there's no place for the plows to push the snow. Additionally, that area is at the intersection of Galusha and Tyler, which is the home of the elementary school bus stop. So keeping the street clear and plowed widely is important for public safety. Number 2, grading. Pools require pumps and equipment that need to be pumped out with the diatomaceous earth material and chlorinated pool water. What accommodations are being made that this material not leach into surrounding abutters? Not certain if it is safe to pump into storm drains or not. If another type of pool is being considered, not sure how those pumps are clean. And number 3, aesthetics. Maintaining the look and the feel of the neighborhood is important, which is why we moved to this home 15 years ago. The town has established zoning laws. It's up to the board to constitute what constitutes a hardship. Since we don't know the plans for the above, we're not in a position to oppose nor support the variance application at this time. We would ask that the board complete its due diligence, including a site visit, as it routinely does in these matters. You can have a better understanding of why the possible fence location and draining is a concern. And that's Carmelo and Mary Barusa, 5 Galusha Road.
Thank you.
Any others, Katrina?
That's it.
Katrina, did you have anything you wanted to add?
I do not.
And I will open it up to members of the public. Is there anyone else here to speak or comment in favor or opposition? Tara, did you have your hand up?
Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
My name is Tara Leiden. I'm from Surfside Pool Company. I am working with the Mornos on their pool project. And so I just wanted to address some of the concerns that were just mentioned in the previous from the abutter next door, I believe. And I apologize for my kids screaming in the background here.
Wasn't sure if those are yours or mine.
Sorry. As far as the diatomaceous earth, we are not planning on using a diatomaceous earth filter. We have other options that we could provide them with a cartridge filter if that was necessary. A cartridge filter has no wastewater. It's like a pleated cartridge so that it gets removed. So there is no backwashing or wastewater coming out on a regular basis the way there would be with a diatomaceous or DE filter. And those just get hosed down and put back in. And so therefore that would eliminate that concern there with DE being drained into the neighbor's property. And as far as the fencing, I'm pretty sure that there's I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure there's a specific code requirement that a fence has to be off of the street. So we would certainly maintain whatever code is required, especially when it's on a corner lot like that, because it's not just snow removal, it's visibility for cars being able to turn around the corner. So that would be taken into consideration in the placement of the fencing.
Thanks, Sarah. Is there anyone else? Is there anyone else here to speak in favor or opposition? Please, if you could raise your hand. Seeing none, it looks like. I'm going to open it up for board discussion. Do any of the board members have any questions or concerns?
Just a couple of quick questions. It looks like part of the pool is in that 30-foot slope easement. So is the pool being built in part of the slope that's there? I mean, obviously this is not a grading plan, but I'm just looking at the plan that you've provided. Is there going to be some sort of grading issue, or how is the pool in part of the slope, or can you just explain that?
Sir, if I could, at the time we laid out to scale size top of the pool. It comes right to the fringe of that area, and when you look at the, I guess at the center point of the pool, if you want to refer to it as that, to that edge of the pool that creeps towards Galusha, the difference is merely 6 to 8 inches of, as that kind of slopes down. About 5 feet off the proposed dig plan is where it begins a more, I don't want to say a steep slope because I think that's a strong word, but it's more noticeable slope as it grades towards the curbing in the roadway there. So it's not like you said, it's not a graded plan like that. It doesn't give the degree of the slope there, but it's nominal at the placement of the pool, which is why we opted to get it as close and fit as best we could in that area.
Is that the deep end of the pool on that end?
No. So I believe the style of the pool, and maybe Tara could confirm that with me off the top of my head, is slipping my mind, but it appears, I believe it's called a lagoon style, and that wider area, which is on the bottom where it's a little bit more than, we'll call it 1.5 times the width, is actually the shallow area.
And is that the 20.2 foot dimension? Obviously, we're a little under 10 feet from what you need. Looks like you need 30
Yes.
feet for a side yard. Is that the actual edge of the road, 20 feet away?
I believe based from this, so this is from Hayes Engineering out of Wakefield. They actually did the original plot plan back when the neighborhood was developed. I believe it's cut in from the curbing. So it's the asphalt curbing, the berm style curbing right there. So we've got 8 to 10 inches of that curbing as well, and then it picks up at the grass line.
But then you're in the street, right, from the curb.
Yes.
Okay.
So that 20.2 is from the grass line where it meets the curb up. There's no sidewalk there. It's on the opposite side of the street. But as far as Galusha goes, it's on the opposite side.
Chris, did you want to add something to that?
Yes, Chris Sparagus, civil engineer from the office of Williams and Sparagus in Middleton. I just wanted to jump in and explain that that black line that says 20.2 to the pool, it's another 7 feet, almost 8 feet to the edge of the pavement, Rich. That is not the street, that's the street line, not the pavement line. So there's another at least 7 feet before you get to the edge of the pavement of the road.
Okay.
And that 30-foot temporary slope easement doesn't exist anymore. The purpose of a temporary slope easement along a roadway is to allow the developer who's building the road the ability to do finished grading as the roadway, the curbing, the sidewalk is all being finalized. And these are public ways now, so those temporary slope easements don't exist anymore.
Okay. I'm just looking at the plan in front of me.
So any other questions from the board?
Mr. Chairman, I'm just wondering if we just take a look at this. I mean, we took a look at at 9 Hilldale for a similar, kind of setback close to the road kind of thing. I don't know if this would make sense just to kind of take a look at this, make sure it passes the smell test.
Yeah, I agree. Because, granting a variance for a pool, you have to show a hardship here. And we've not really been very kind when it comes to pools. So I think it definitely needs a look-see, and we need to hear about the hardship here.
I can chime in on that if the board will allow.
Please.
So we've started this plan, I want to say July, August of 2020. We worked side by side with the pool company, very in depth, not to mention the surveying company, Hayes Engineering. We tried multiple locations, and as I stated, as far as this plan goes, to scale size templates, which are canvas, and placed it in. If I had to put a rough number, it was probably 4 hours of placement and measurements, and tried to accommodate the pool plus the you're not encroaching too much with any concern of any direct abutters here. It was mentioned with the surveying company about the reserve area. It was I did not know much. I've been living in this home about 2.5 years. The reserve area was unknown to me, and I worked with him to kind of get an idea about how this whole thing works. And to get into the perk testing and the financial burden of the perk testing to then appeal for to the Board of Health to move the reserve area and encroach in on that side. We didn't see it to be feasible. In either way, if we were to place it just beyond that, for safety reasons from the distance of the home, we'd also would have to go for a variance based on, as you see, that property kind of narrows. It bottlenecks towards the back, towards that towards that drainage easement to accommodate pool there. We would be sitting at the same table here with the variance should we not do the perk test and bid to move the reserve area in any fashion.
I have a quick question. I'm not seeing it. I could just be not seeing it. How big is this pool? My brain's just not really calculating.
Are you talking square footage of the pool?
Or gallons?
I don't have the gallons. I know we were working in the square foot range, and it would have gone over the 600 square foot requirements as far as the simple stormwater permit, which was also submitted. I want to say it was 700 square foot, and that's the way that the company does. I could defer that to Ms. Lyden, who's also on the call, if she has an exact number of gallons, if that's what you're looking for.
That's fine. Thank you.
It's 700 square feet, and it's about 22,000 gallons of water.
Thank you.
So I'm a little, I'm kind of on the fence. I'm kind of on the fence, for lack of a better term. I think we do need a site walk just because of the proximity of the neighbors and where it is a variance, I think we should give them an opportunity. So I am going to, does the rest of the board agree on a site walk?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
I agree.
Right. So let's see. Let's look at our calendars. So the next meeting is on the 27th. Can we do the 19th?
19th of May.
Yeah. Matt, does that work for you too, to have us come out to take a look at the property?
Yeah, of course. I can make any accommodations for the members of the board to come out for a site visit. Absolutely.
All right. The idea, I think, is to put a few stakes in the ground so we can kind of see exactly where the pool's going to be in relation to the neighbor and the street and all that good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I'm more than welcome to that. Just for a point of discussion too, we've had several fence companies come out, and we have been cognizant about the placement of the fence for, as mentioned in the one of the abutters memos to the board, that we are very cognizant, like I said, about keeping that as close and as tight to the pool on both their side, abutting to 5 Galusha, as well as the roadway itself. So that fencing isn't going to. There was, as a matter of fact, there was trees there, or there are trees there, to a point where we're kind of using, as we map this out with a measuring wheel for the feet of the fence, that it's that the pine trees and such that are in the area are going to cause no more obstruction or interference with anything than a fence would.
No, understood. I think this will give the board an opportunity to kind of see all that and be able to clearly articulate it moving forward. So I'm going to make a motion that we schedule a site walk. We do 6 p.m. on the 19th.
So
Yeah, that
moved.
works. Oh, I'm sorry.
So moved.
And hold on. What are we doing here? And do I have a second?
I'll second.
And a vote?
Rich,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Carolyn.
Yes.
I vote yes.
Great.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we continue the public hearing to our meeting of May 27th.
So moved. And is there a second?
Can we just
Second.
specify that that's at 7 o'clock?
At 7
Which?
PM?
Oh, to the next meeting? Yes.
Okay.
7 PM on May 27th.
A second.
And vote.
Rich,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Carolyn,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes.
All right, we'll see you then.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is going to be 177 North Main Street. It is a special permit for automotive repair use. I believe I saw the applicant here. Excellent. Madam Clerk, could you read the public notice, please?
Sure can. Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing 7 PM, April 22nd, 2021, on the application of I think it's Mr. Nguyen, for the permits necessary to authorize an automotive repair facility specializing in Honda and Acura in the Unit 3 of Building 300 on the property located at 177 North Main Street, found on Assessor's Map 17A, parcel 51301. Plans on file with the town clerk. And looks like we have an abutters list, comments, and yeah.
All right. Mr. Nguyen, I believe you are up, sir.
Hello. So yeah, I'm here to apply for a special permit to open the repair shop.
And all right, then Madam Clerk, can you please read the correspondence?
Sure. Okay, first of all, from the fire chief, 177 North Main Street, all local, state, and federal codes must be followed in addition to the following. Sprinkler systems must be adequate for the intended purpose. All flammable liquids must be stored properly, and that's from Chief Martinuck. The assessor's office has no issues. The Concom has no comment. Is that it, Katrina?
That's it.
Okay.
Katrina, did you have any comments?
I did not.
Then I will open it up. Is there anyone here from the public that would like to speak in favor or opposition? If you could just please raise your hand. Seeing none, I will open it up for board discussion.
Yeah, I'll start off. I'm not quite sure what we're repairing. Can you just be a little, bit more descriptive? I know it's an automotive repair shop, but, how many lifts, what kind of repairs are you doing? Is it body work? Is it engine work? Is it new tires? I mean, what is this? Not quite sure.
What it's gonna be is manufacturer specific. So I'm basically doing my idea is going to be a dealership alternative, Honda and Acura repair shop. So I'm doing basically engine repair and maintenance on all Hondas and Acuras. So it's like a niche shop. So it's general. It's not for general repair. It's more just those two brands. And from tires to engine work to brakes. Then that's pretty much it.
Okay. How many lifts are you going to have?
Two.
And you're not selling vehicles, you're just repairing them, is that right?
Yes, just repairing.
Okay.
Did any of the other board members have any questions?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I had one more. Will there be vehicles stored outside?
No.
So they make an appointment, they come in, they drop their car off. You're not going to have like several cars that are waiting for repair outside? Or?
That's also one of the things is that it's going to be an appointment by appointment only basis. So no like walk-ins or anything like that.
Okay. Thank you.
You know what your hours are going to be by any chance?
Yeah, so I plan on doing 8 to 5, and it's going to be depending on how my schedule works out, maybe Saturdays, but It's 8 to 5, Monday to Friday.
Are you the only employee or are you having help?
As for right now, it's gonna be me as the mechanic, and my wife's gonna do the reception part of it.
So it's not a very big operation from what I'm looking at here. Is that the whole size of the whole place right there in the picture?
Yes.
Pretty small, just 2 cars? Okay.
Yeah, it's just one unit of the building.
Yeah, it's 1,500 square feet and 1 bay garage.
And what's the permit for exactly, Craig? I didn't see the,
Auto repair.
just repair, okay.
Mhm.
And it's a special permit?
Yes, ma'am.
Does everyone know where it is on the site?
No,
Second.
I don't know where it is.
I'm gonna sneak over to this one. Okay, so you're familiar with the drive in?
it's the
And
place
then
behind
it's
Dixie
the
Drive.
building is right here, and I think it's this unit right here.
Okay. All right. So it's on the
This is-
front street side,
Yeah,
not
building
on the
building
abutter-
300, unit 3, I believe.
Okay, not on the abutter side, okay.
One thing I do just want the members to keep in mind, and it isn't specifically for this special permit before you, but I did bring up, and when this original site plan was being reviewed, pedestrian amenities within the site, and we were told that we don't want people walking around within the site, and it's an industrial site, it'll be industrial uses. So if we do see specific uses that aren't necessarily industrial, then, you might want to revisit that, and the fact that they said they didn't want any pedestrian amenities, because we do have one coming up next month that, and I think it's a gym. And I just think that they should have put sidewalks in and pathways from building to building within the site. And that's all.
I have a couple of questions. One is kind of pertaining to that. Is there a waiting area? I mean, if you're doing engine work or that kind of repairs, I can imagine that you're going to have people waiting. Is that, and that kind of speaks to there being space, a safe place for people to be walking around.
I do have a little chair in the front of the reception, but pretty much it's not a quick lube shop where people's gonna be sitting there and waiting for
Okay.
work done.
Right here.
Yeah.
Okay. And the other question I have is I'm a little concerned about the the plan to not store vehicles outside. As an aging Honda owner, I know that sometimes it takes a little while for a part to come in, and I would just hate to okay this with the plan that you're never going to have cars parked outside and then end up in a situation where you need it.
So I work at the dealership, and what we do during the winter months is basically pack the shop. So that's what I was planning to do when I leave, is basically just pack the shop before I leave, sort of. So it would maybe it'll park in the daytime would be outside, but when I leave it'll be in the shop. You know what I mean?
Similar to how they're
Okay.
stacked in the picture, where there's one under the other overnight.
All right. Okay.
Presuming it's running, the car. Do you just sorry, through the chair, do you have assigned spots? Do you have assigned parking spaces for your unit?
Oh, you talking to me?
Yes.
So there's 2, and then 2 assigned parking spots in the front, and there's a bunch of guest parking as well.
Any other board members have any questions, concerns? I've seen a couple shops like this just in life, and they're all pretty well contained. As he said, it doesn't seem like there's any objection to a condition that there be no overnight outdoor storage. right? So I mean, technically, you're not storing anything anywhere outside. So
No, yeah.
no cars will be stashed overnight, in an outdoor parking space. Everything will be self-contained overnight.
Yep.
But if you got to pull one out during the day, we're not calling, for reinforcements.
Okay.
Craig, I have a
Craig, I
question.
don't know.
Go ahead.
Craig, I have a question for you. I mean, obviously, some of you may have been involved with the permitting of the entire development at 177. Is this contrary to what the intended uses were when this was permitted? I'm just curious.
No,
So why does this require a special permit?
because it's auto repair and that requires Board of Appeal approval.
Regardless of the prior use?
No matter what.
Okay, got it.
What are the hours of operation?
Oh, there we go.
8 to 5.
Yeah, 8 to 5, Monday to Friday.
Are you going to include that as a condition?
Is that for me?
Well, yeah, do you mind if it's a condition?
No. But if that's a condition, is that like a strict way I have to like shut the lights off right at 5, or is that like, sometimes it takes a little longer to finish a car or something like that?
I guess it depends upon what the board considers for the condition. They may lengthen the hours and give you more hours, or
just leave them alone.
possibly allow working behind closed doors.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know how I feel about limiting the hours of operation when he hasn't really asked for it, and nobody else has asked for it either. There's nothing that's going to be done that seemingly is going to be a nuisance outside of what would be considered normal business hours. So I would hate to just put conditions on for the sake of putting conditions on.
I agree with that, Mr. Chairman. Given that
This
the rest
is
of
an
the,
industrial building. Right?
yeah, the rest of the industrial park has unlimited time, right?
Yeah, with some limitations on it, but I mean, for this specific use, I mean, I don't know, the way it's designed, I think we have no outdoor storage, just as a specific condition on it. He's still subject to the general conditions as well. I don't know. Let's see, is anyone else popping up? Oh, hands. All right, in that case, let's look at some findings here. So for the special permit, we're going to need findings. I'll propose that the board make the following findings. That the proposed use as an auto repair facility will meet the community need for a niche auto repair service. It will have minimal impact on traffic and pedestrian flow and safety. It is consonant with the character of the neighborhood. Any impacts on the environment will be mitigated by the interior containment systems that will be required of it per code. And this will potentially have a positive impact on the town, services, tax base, and employment by bringing in a new business. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And a vote?
Rich,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Carolyn,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
And based on those findings, I will call for a motion to approve the special permit pursuant to Table of Use Regulations C10 and C11 of the Middleton zoning bylaws to allow the operation of an auto repair facility at 177 North Main Street, Building 300, Unit 3.
So moved.
With the following condition, with the condition that it be subject to our general conditions, as well as the condition that there will be no overnight outdoor parking or storage.
So moved.
Second,
Second,
vote,
Rich,
Yes.
Greg,
yes.
Carolyn,
yes.
Ian,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes.
Good luck, sir.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Take it easy. Attorney Mann, are you here?
Good evening, Mr. Hartwell. I am here.
Excellent.
I'm trying to, can't figure out what, I think, I don't know if you can see me. It's a weird visual right now, but
All right, Attorney Mann, which one would you like to start with?
whichever pleases the board best. Would you like to start with 171 since you just heard something and it's kind of more thematic tonight?
You got it.
Okay, wonderful. So good evening, Jill Mann here on behalf of Bay Property Management North LLC, the owner of the industrial park located at 177 North Main Street. In connection with that particular submission, we are seeking to amend the existing site plan and to include two new buildings, building 700 and 500. And in addition to that, we are seeking special permits to allow all of the individual bays, other than the one you just discussed, to be categorized as contractor storage. And the reason for that is actually pretty much what Mr. Benevento had raised previously. You know, what was the original intent? The original intent of contractor bays as constructed is to have them be contractor bays. And for the most part, typically they really are contractor bays where people are coming in, landscapers, et cetera, and they use the buildings. I'll be honest with you. I think that the table of uses was supposed to really mean when you have a contractor bay with outdoor storage, not necessarily a contractor bay with indoor storage, but that's what we have because the table's a bit confusing. So every time a contractor, even if he's just going to have an office and maybe maintain, you know, piping or pull his trucks in at night, has to get a special permit, even in a heavy industrial park. It's just the way the provisions were written. So we had appeared before this board last month to go over the application, and we did do so. And then as a result of the discussions, it was asked that we conduct a site walk, which again, we did so on April 7th. And all of the board members were in fact present. And I mean, I think the site walk went well. It was clear, you know, we had a couple of butters showed up, and the most proximate abutter as well, who is, you know, within very close proximity to the new buildings being constructed. You had the opportunity to see exactly where we were putting those outdoor storage areas and how small they in fact were. And then you also had the ability to see how far away we were from the residents other than Mr. Frank. I apologize, I can't remember Frank's last name. The most proximate abutter, how far we were away from the resident from Dixie Drive who actually did have an issue with some noise that was emanating from the park, and how distant we were from them and how distant the outdoor storage areas were that we are proposing now. If the board has other questions, I can entertain them. I just think that we pretty much did present all of the information that we had at the last hearing, and then we're able to give you a very good visual during that site walk. So based on that, I would turn it back over to you, Mr. Hartwell.
Thank you, Attorney Mann.
Thank you.
Did the board have any further discussion following the site walk? Any thoughts, questions, concerns?
Well, I wasn't there, so I'm sorry, Rich. So I just
No,
had
go
a
ahead.
question about how people felt since you saw it, noise-wise, especially with landscaping contractors coming and going very early in the morning. Do you think that's going to affect the abutters with the close proximity?
I apologize, Ms. Cody. Did you want me to answer that or one of the board members who attended the meeting?
Well, the board members mostly, I know what
That's
you're
what I
gonna say,
thought.
but it's the
I just
board
wanted
members.
to make sure. Sure,
No, yeah, because they saw it and I didn't see it. And I just want to know what they think.
I understand.
Rich, did you want to start with your thoughts or?
Yeah, just a couple of things. First of all, thank you for providing the Mass DOT permit. I did get that. I reviewed it.
Of course.
I was still a little surprised that there was no traffic study done for the first development. You know, a couple of 100,000 square feet of anything generally will require a traffic impact analysis study. If nothing else, just to substantiate that there's going to be no impact. I know in the packet, Chris did provide an executive summary of the a trip generation report. One of the comments in there says the impact of traffic on North Main Street near the proposed project site is not anticipated to change levels of service at the intersection in the vicinity of the project. And, you know, of course, my initial question is, okay, so what is the current level of service? Because generally with a traffic impact and access study, you're looking at existing conditions, and then you're looking at how a new development that's going to generate new traffic is going to affect the current condition. It's water under the dam at this point, over the bridge, however you want to call it, right? But I will say, and this was from my 13 years as a conservation commissioner, prior to being a parking and traffic commissioner, project segmentation, right? So we come in and the original project, well, it's not a lot. We're not going to affect level of service. As a matter of fact, I think one of the comments in the summary says it's not going to come close to meeting anything that's going to trip anything. Okay, so that's the first project. And the second one comes in, and we used to see this, the Conservation Commission would see this all the time. You can't disturb more than 5,000 square feet. And then the developer would come in and want to disturb individual lots. So at the end of the day, you know, that we're trying to actually disturb more than 5,000 square feet. This is the same kind of thing with project segmentation, where we have a project coming in, this use is not going to cause any traffic impact. Then we add a little bit more. Well, it's a small use. We're not going to create any traffic impact. And then we add two more buildings, and by themselves are not going to create a traffic impact. And my concern is, and again, not necessarily this, I'm sort of on my soapbox right now, but what happens is we end up adding and adding and adding, and nothing individually causes a problem, but in the composite, we're causing a huge problem. And so as we move forward, and again, this is for any of the applicants that are here, any of the representation they have, legal counsel, or any of the engineers, be advised that this is the kind of thing that I'm going to be looking at, because this project is already built. I know Mr. McKinley is a good developer. He does good work. He likes to put in sidewalks. We're happy about that. But moving forward, when we just keep adding another straw and another straw and another straw and another straw, the impact are on the people that need to get to work in the morning or try to get home at night, and they can't because traffic's a mess, particularly on 114. So again, I'm on my soapbox right here. This project, again, it's sort of, it's already there. I don't see that whatever I have to either vote up or down is going to change anything. But anyway, I thought it was important to say that. I'm concerned about, project segmentation and just adding these little bits, these little straws. Eventually the camel's back does break. I'll yield.
Can you go back to Ann's question? Rich?
Ann's question?
Yeah.
Yes.
I had asked if your thoughts on the site walk.
Oh, I'm sorry.
In terms of noise and how it might affect the abutters, the direct abutters, especially with the landscape contractors coming and going so early.
Mr. Castro was there, and there was another abutter. I didn't get his name, and he had some concerns, although he's at a sort of far end of the lot from where this is happening. My sense was that he was far enough away, and that I got the sense that if it was more of an issue that, whatever Brent could do to alleviate that, he would. I think there was some issues with the steel company or whoever it was, that business that were getting deliveries, settling oxygen and those kinds of things occurring in the middle of the night. And it was my understanding that they were addressing that. I can't be sure. That's what I got out of the site walk.
Right. So these bays are not closer to the abutters than that particular business, are they, or are they?
Would
I
you
don't
like
think
to,
so.
would you like me to show the plan in response to that? Because Katrina, you just shut the plan down, but if you put the plan up, I think that we can show Ms. Cody where the abutter that was here was where his property is in relation to the new buildings. Here we go. Okay. So Mr. Castro, so the people were here were, and I cannot remember their name. It isn't, they bought Kathy Bergeron's house, so I know it's just right here. I believe you can see my hand. Can you, Ms. Cody?
Yeah.
Okay, so this, I hate using somebody else's screen. Good God. So this is where one of the abutters was, and this right here where my hand is right now is where Mr. Castro's home is. So this is where he's located. This is where the building that the operation that he was complaining about was right here. And this is where our new buildings are in this quadrant. And it's quite a distance. I mean, it's probably, remember the walk we had along that building all the way? I'm gonna go back here. I can probably,
That
okay,
one shows it.
here we go. So here you have Mr. Castro's, again, Ms. Cody, right here. The Bergeron property, I'm sorry, I just can't remember his name. Henry or Harry is his first name. And then here are the new two proposed buildings. In the area in which the issue comes is because Mr. Castro, the way his house is situated, is the area of concern was right around here, I believe. And there's a direct line there. But from Mr. Castro's house here is, I think everybody can remember, pretty heavily treed. And you can't even, there's no possibility of even seeing it from here.
So what's above the parking lot there, where your hand is now? Go up a little bit. Go
Right
up
here?
a little bit more. Right there. What's that?
Sure, that was one of the abutters who showed up, Frank. He is the closest abutter, and he came because he wanted to make sure that the board members understood that he bought, knowing full well what was coming there. He knew what was happening, and he's supportive. And I don't want to speak for the board members who are present. I think that they probably can tell you themselves, but he was present, and I would ask that either Ann Carolyn Ms. Snyder, Ms. Demona McPherson, or Mr. Benevento explains to you what his position was, because they heard it. But he had no problem.
That's because that looks very close. Yeah.
He is very,
Yeah.
again, please.
Yeah, and it is,
He
oh, sorry, go ahead, Carolyn.
yeah, I was just gonna say he's in support of it. I think as long as people return his dog when it runs over the property, he's fine.
That was funny.
Yeah, he was very supportive, and he asked a question about the storage area that's up in the corner, and he was happy.
Right here.
Yep, with the explanation of it. And there's, if I remember correctly, there's a bunch of trees there, and there's a little change in elevation. So on a plan, it looks like he's 5 feet away, but it flows pretty well there. Yeah.
So here are some of the images.
Yeah. So the elevation is concerning, because last time we were assured these buildings would not show that much, and they turned out to be quite colossally higher than we thought they would. So what about this building? Is it the same height as all these others? Is it going to be towering over his house like the other buildings do?
Oh, no, his house was substantially higher, actually, than these two buildings are. These buildings were situated in at a lower elevation, which you could see because the grade that the other members saw, they actually were able to see the grade. And again, I would ask, that they comment to you and not I, but they can tell you about what the grade was, and then the hump of trees, and then the house.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get to the plan, but
Do you want me to try and get to it, Ms. Snyder?
I have it here on another computer. I'm just,
Okay.
I mean, it worked. It worked. The abutter's backyard is really shielded by trees and a change in elevation, and it's only parking that's even going to happen near him. So he was not concerned at all.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments from any of the board members? Seeing none, seeing no hands up, I will entertain a motion to accept. First thing is going to be the findings. I will propose that, let's see, pursuant to chapter 235, section 9.5.11 and 1 and 5.4, that the record demonstrates that the property and the existing improvements as altered by the modifications will comply with all dimensional density, height, parking, and loading requirements. That the modifications to the industrial park and the addition of the special permit uses will address the community's need to not only develop new sources of tax revenue, bring new businesses to town, but also support the reasonable efforts of owners to develop and maintain profitable commercial properties in town. In addition, the industrial park continues to support safe pedestrian and vehicular travel and will not be negatively affected by the modifications. The existing infrastructure and proposed new infrastructure, including but not limited to utilities, waste disposal, drainage, and lighting, currently addresses the existing needs of the property as well as any new requirements created by these modifications, proposed modifications, and the addition of special permit uses. The special permit uses are consonant with neighboring properties which maintain similar uses in close proximity to the industrial park. And that is, I think, it. Do I have a motion to accept those findings?
Mr. Chairman, a potential amendment to that.
Yeah.
I think in there you said that the project safely accommodates vehicular and pedestrian traffic, and I would hate to put this town at liability because there are no pedestrian amenities in that project or on the site. So I would amend it to just say the vehicular traffic and strike pedestrians.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
There are sidewalks in the industrial park.
Yes, there.
And there's a nature path that's going to be created around the wetland to promote employee walks during the day.
So the previous application, someone mentioned that I don't know if it was Carolyn or somebody mentioned that there were limited sites, or maybe it was Katrina, that there was limited pedestrian amenities.
It's just because, right, because it's just because, Mr. Benevento, there aren't sidewalks literally meandering through the entire site, but they're around each of the buildings so that you can get from building to building. It's just, I'm trying to see if I can find, it's just that there aren't literally sidewalks, but there are pedestrian. I mean, you can walk around. For example, Salem Meadow has a pathway in front of it.
Okay.
That's why.
All right, never mind.
Do I have a motion or to accept those findings?
I'll make a motion.
I'll make a,
And a second,
I'll second.
and a vote.
Anne,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Carolyn,
Yes.
Rich? Rich?
Yes.
Oh, and I'll vote yes.
Based on those findings, I will call for a motion to issue a special permit in accordance with section 3.1.2 and the table of use regulations C commercial -20, which authorizes the operation of the contractor bays in buildings 300, 500, 600, and 700 on the 2021 site plans, subject to all general conditions, including all conditions previously imposed on the site by this board, as well as the following conditions specifically, which I don't really think we have any. Or do we have any? Hearing none, I will call for that motion.
So moved. I will make a motion.
In a second,
I'll second.
and a vote.
Anne,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Carolyn,
Yes.
Rich,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
Thank you.
Also, based on those findings in the records and evidence presented and pursuant to our authority under section or chapter 235, section 9.4, I'm going to call for a motion to issue a special permit in accordance with 3.1.2 in the table of use regulations C commercial, also -20, authorizing the creation of the outdoor storage areas as shown on the plan. Subject to, again, all general conditions and all conditions previously imposed on the site by this board. Do I have a motion?
Craig, quick question, Craig, before we vote. When we were there, he was talking about what he would be storing in these areas, like, like a piece of snow removal equipment or something like that, that he wouldn't be storing, debris or other things outside. Do we need to reference that, or are we just going to take his word for it?
It's what he stores there is not dispositive for me. So,
Right.
it's
Mr. Chairman.
it's two spots that we're talking about on the site plan specifically, right?
Right.
Parking spaces.
Yeah, I mean,
Mr. Chairman, when Attorney Mann came and presented to the Development Review Group meeting, she agreed to several conditions that could be added to the decision. Did you read them in the staff report? They were in my report for last month. That the facility be maintained in a clean and sanitary manner. All repairs shall not be undertaken in the outdoor storage area, and the outdoor storage area shall be used only to park and store vehicles and equipment, and petitioner shall conduct all work within facility. Petitioner shall not permit any outdoor storage of junk or inoperable vehicles, and petitioner shall make reasonable accommodations to ensure that noise and fumes generated while working in the bays do not negatively affect neighboring properties. I think at minimum, we should probably add those.
Some of them you should, some of them were actually for Kenworth. Those were some of the Kenworth things, because when you say junk and all of those things, I think that was part of it as well. I mean, I have no issue. It's just that some of those conditions don't apply. I mean, we can say we're not going to store. I mean, I'd have to, I don't even remember seeing those in the, can you put them up on the screen or something so the board can see them if they're going to vote?
Yeah, sure.
Because it's such a tiny area. I don't even know.
Let me see.
Well, then it shouldn't matter if it's a tiny area. I would agree with the other board's review and conditions that were agreed to, and they should be part of these conditions.
Right, it's just that, normally you want your decisions to be well crafted and proper. So if it's wrong, it's simply wrong. I mean, that's just my opinion. I mean, the board can do whatever it so chooses.
Oh, there's a lot of wrong things, but we won't get into that.
And now I'm looking at it, and I don't think this was for the Kenworth one.
It definitely was. See how all the references to facility? I think this was all repairs, because it definitely was, because we permitted the repair shop, remember? And I think this was actually a very well-reasoned list of conditions at the prior hearing. If ever, I think it was Ms. Snyder who had the suggestion relative to what we would call the cars. Remember how we had that?
Yeah.
That's what, and if you read it, right, petition shall not permit any outdoor storage of junk or inoperable vehicles.
Yep.
There you go. That's how I know this is for Kenworth. I mean, we have no problem, putting in conditions that are reasonable. I mean, we don't tend to do any business outside. It's for passive storage in the outside. I mean, that's what it's going to be for. And And it's going to be for, large equipment that nobody wants to put indoors. And just like Mr. Benevento said, sometimes I think Brent had told him, the backhoes and loaders that are used during snow events.
So I have also in the staff report, I did recommend other conditions pertaining to noise because the health director has asked me repeatedly to ask the boards that I administer to add conditions concerning noise. He is the one that has to enforce any complaint that comes in. And there's things that the boards can be doing to limit those complaints. I mean, we do want to protect the neighbors to a certain degree from noise. And so we can do small things like just make sure that the machines on the roof are protected. And I really do think we should add several general conditions just to help with that problem.
I mean, some of these aren't, I mean, obviously we don't, that's fine. Number one makes sense because it's a regulation. You don't even have to do it. I mean, we want to make certain people know, and that makes sense. Noise that emanates from cooling equipment, that's not even that's inappropriate because you don't know where the property is and what does that even mean? And then you have hours of operation. We don't limit hours of operation in town. There's nothing in the actual bylaw that would do this. And then you're going to be unfair.
Right, but when there's a special permit, you can add hours.
If it's reasonable and it's typically applied because the conditions want. I'm just saying, I'm just reading the general conditions. I mean, these are definitely not general conditions. They're special. And then sound attenuating walls.
So a lot of cooling systems do have buffered screens on the roof to reduce noise. So I mean, there are things that can be done.
Oh, I agree. I'm just saying that these are not general conditions. They're special.
What do these have to do with outdoor storage?
Nothing.
All right. So with all due respect, what are we talking about?
Isn't the special permit for contractor base?
Right, but what does that have to do with mechanical and ventilation systems on we've already voted on the contractor base. We're on outdoor storage. The board has already voted and approved the special permit for contractor base. We're in the middle of voting for the special permit for outdoor storage areas.
Okay, I just thought I'd bring it up.
Yeah, and I don't think we would want to wrap it with a 12-foot high fence. So I think that might be more of an eyesore for the neighbors than.
And we do wrap the outdoor storage areas to protect them and to make sure we limit the area. We don't do it with the 12-foot fence. That is some serious wall.
Yeah, and with sound attenuating panels in it, that might be more of an eyesore than the neighbors.
I know. You see them on the sideways of highways.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So do we have any additional conditions other than those previously voted on? The general conditions, the conditions that are already imposed on the site by prior approvals by the board? Specific to outdoor storage areas? Hearing none, I will call for a motion to approve. And a second?
Motion.
And second?
I'll second.
And a vote?
Anne,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Carolyn,
Yes.
Rich,
No.
and I'll vote yes.
Thank you. And last but not least is the site plan itself. I don't believe we voted on that. I will call for a motion to approve the modifications to the industrial park that include the addition of buildings 500 and 700, all associated infrastructure, as well as the creation of the outdoor storage areas as just approved, all as shown on the 2021 site plans, subject to all general conditions and conditions of record. Do I have a motion?
I will make that motion.
Second?
I'll second.
And a vote.
Anne,
Yes.
Carolyn,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Rich,
No.
and I'll vote yes.
Something funny, Bill?
Thank you, Attorney Mann. The next item on the agenda is 9 Hilldale Avenue. I believe I saw them in the waiting room. So, Attorney Mann, you're here for that as well. That is
Yeah, I'm
a,
sorry, I was trying to get something off my screen.
no worries. That is a continuation of a prior hearing. Attorney Mann, would you like to add anything from our prior hearing? We did have the site walk at the same time as the 177 North Main Street.
Yes, thank you very much. So it was actually, it was a good site walk. I think that by seeing it, the board members were really able to get an understanding of Hilldale. It's one of our, honestly, it's one of our quaint streets in Middleton. It really is. And a lot of the people who are moving to Hilldale are doing a wonderful job improving the homes. And I think that's what people were able to see, because a lot of us don't go down that street because it's not a throughway. It's just like, it's an off branch, and it's located right off of River Street. So when we went there, I think actually I had walked it with Mr. Benevento and Ms. McPherson came afterward. And I think then Ms. Snyder came, and I know you know the area, Mr. Hartwell. And the front walk is where almost the property line is, and it was maybe 3 feet off. But the real paved width of Hilldale is, Mr. Benevento walked it. It had to be at least 15 feet out. And then he even walked around the back, and it's appropriate to actually make these changes. And you could see that all the properties on each side of this particular building are kind of on the same exact plane. So I think that it was a good site walk and an important site walk for the board to make. I do. I guess though, Ms. Cody may want to hear from the members who saw it, because although I know you're familiar with the area too, Ms. Cody, but if you do want to have some contribution from the other members, they can tell you what they had seen. And as I said, I know Mr. Benevento actually walked around it and talked to Mr. Matarazzo, the owner, about the property, about the overhang, about the garage. So he could answer those direct questions for you as well, if you have any relative to the site walk. Other than that, I think that it was pretty clear that the changes being made by the Matarazzos are a tremendous improvement. And, hopefully it will continue to be contagious, and the properties across the street and down the way will continue with the renovation work along the street. Thank you very much.
Do any of the other board members have any comments or questions about the site walk or anything else for the applicant?
What did you all think of that, the setbacks?
I'm sorry, Ann, think of what?
Did you think setback? It was, yeah, isn't this a setback question? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Or not?
It is a setback question, yes.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
And were you guys satisfied with it?
Yeah, there's not really much you can do with those lots. They're so irregular and small. So I felt that the whole project would just be an improvement.
I agree. I was there late, but I did manage to get there. And yeah, it is what it is. The houses exist in that configuration, and they're trying to do a good job in the neighborhood. It's a nice little neighborhood.
It really is. It's cute.
We don't all have to have 4-acre lots, and that's nice. It gives the town a different offering.
And when you see it too, Ms. Cody, and I know that the Ms. Benevento walked back here again, because I remember him going to the back. There's this breezeway. Trying to grab the hand. I don't think I can do it right now, but there's a breezeway. You can see it to the very rear of the, or right in front, big words, proposed breezeway. And then there's a concrete patio behind it. And that's how they plan on connecting the house to the garage. Because right now it's just a detached structure. And then this will just be, in between, in front, it'll just be open. And then the house has that covered porch. It's really not even a porch. I don't know what I'd call it. I mean, maybe it is a porch. It's got a patio on the bottom and then it's got an overhang, but it's not like it has any, railings. It's set to grade and then above. I don't know, Katrina, do you have the copy of those plans? Because that might actually help Miss Cody, because that they're pretty demonstrative. I can't get those.
The photographs?
Yes.
The photographs are good.
Yeah, I just don't know where they, there you go. Thank you. I have it. You ready? And here's the actual images. It just takes a little bit. 1 second, Miss Cody, I'm sorry. Oh, it's not coming, huh? There we go. So here's an old picture. See, this is the, I think that's called a dog shed or something. And then here's the, so here's that overhang we were talking about. And then I know you can't see it, but in this back corner, the garage has the opening to, that's clear. It's not, you can walk all the way to the backyard through this side where the truck is. And you can see by where the truck is that this entire area is the front yard. And the encroachment, is, I think the actual property line is somewhere around here, which is the way it is the entire property. But I just wanted to give you a picture of that. I mean, this picture does not do it justice. It's very grainy. It looks like the house hasn't been sided. It's actually been re-sided. I mean, the garage is what the existing condition is, but the home itself is very pretty. I mean, they've done a nice job updating it. They really have. And it has new siding and they're trying to paint and do different things. This picture does not do it justice at all. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other thoughts from the other board members? Jill, I just had one question just to clarify.
Yes.
On the plan, the covered porch, that's the existing covered porch as well. You're not building out 7.3 feet off of what is the footprint of that covered porch now, correct?
He built out 7.3 feet from the house projection. So it was like 2.5 feet from that initial overhang you saw. So he did further encroach.
But that's already in.
But that's already on the plan. Yeah.
Yes.
And the covered porch is there, like that.
It is.
So that footprint's not going any closer to the street.
Oh, absolutely not. Oh,
Correct.
no, I
No,
apologize.
no.
No, that is the limit. Yes.
That was my question. That was my poorly worded question.
This is really a benign request. What he's asking for is, in my view, a benign request. It should be noted, however, and I spoke with him when I was there, that he is utilizing the town right away with his front yard and so forth. And at any time, the town could, let's say the town wanted to come in and put a sidewalk, you'd have to be moving the little wishing well and the kids' toys and all these other things, just so you're mindfully aware that you're occupying the town way. But in terms of the request, it's a benign request in my view.
Okay, thanks, Rich.
Let's see. I'm going to call for a motion to accept the following findings. Let's see if I can check all the boxes here. The proposal will improve the aesthetics and increase the value of the property and the home, which will result in a positive fiscal impact on the town, which will benefit to all of the neighboring properties. By allowing the petitioner to make these improvements, the board will be providing encouragement and support to the neighboring property owners that will facilitate an improvement in the condition of neighboring properties along that roadway and throughout the town. The proposal will require a building permit and oversight by the various town departments, which will ensure that there are no negative impacts on the natural environment. The proposal will not impact the passage of traffic other than the wishing well. The proposal will not create any new nonconformities, specifically will not increase the footprint further into the nonconformity or into the setbacks. The proposal will not involve any increase in the use of the property, nor will it increase the living area of the home, which will remain a 3-bedroom home. Do I have a motion to accept those findings?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
And a vote.
Anne,
Yes.
Rich,
Yes.
Carolyn,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
I'll vote yes.
And based on those findings and the evidence presented, I will call for a motion to grant the special permit pursuant to section 3.3.5 and 9.4 of the bylaws.
So moved.
And a second,
Second.
I'll second.
and a vote.
Dan,
Yes.
Rich,
Yes.
Carolyn,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes.
Thank you very much. I know the Matarascos are very appreciative of your time and your effort, and they're really excited to get the project underway and to be a longtime resident of Middleton.
Good luck with the project.
Thank you, guys. God bless.
Take it easy. The next item on the agenda is going to be a new item. It's 27 Acorn Street, an extension, a request for an extension of a special permit. Attorney Mann, I believe you're here for that one as well.
I am.
All right.
So,
Oh, wait, Madam Clerk, do we have a publication for that one?
I hope
We
so, but
do
I
not.
just
It's
got
not a
some-
public hearing.
Attorney Mann, I guess you're up.
Well, so pursuant to the regulations in section 9 of chapter 48, special permits can be extended by a vote of the board. It's important to actually note that section 9 has been amended to make special permits good now for 3 years versus 2, given the economic times, number 1, number 2, the length of time it takes now for people to actually secure all permits. So just so the board knows, it may end up being your preference as time goes forward to actually make
Yeah, I
special
just saw
permits, good for the 3 years, because you now are permitted to do so under section 9. So anyway, so Mr. Courier had received a special permit that would allow him, that allowed him, to reestablish the non-conforming protected nature of the property down on Acorn Street. And he's simply been trying to have the time and the finances and hopefully a buyer to be able to develop that property. And we just need more time. It's going to expire in July, and we actually think we have a buyer, but there'll be no way for the buyer to secure permitting, finalize what he would like to do there, and begin before the permit expires. So we're here to ask for the extension. And that's why.
Thank you, Attorney Mann.
Thank you.
Was there any correspondence, anything from anybody outside of the board? I don't believe so. In which case, I'll open it up to board discussion. Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve the extension of I will make a motion to extend the July 29, 2019 decision of the Middleton Zoning Board of Appeals, permit number 1076, to extend it for another 2 years.
Yes, please. That'd be wonderful if you would.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
I'll second it.
And a vote.
I'll
Yeah,
do
we
it.
only need the 4, so go ahead, Carolyn.
Anne,
Yes.
Rich,
I know nothing about this project, so I'll abstain from the vote. This predates me.
There's only 4 of us voting. Because Ann's not available right now.
Actually, I don't think this needs a super majority.
Yeah, it's not a special permit vote. It's just an extension under that particular statute. So I think it's fine to have.
3,
okay. Yeah, Craig,
I vote yes as well.
and I'll vote yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate everyone's time tonight. Hope everybody has a wonderful rest of the evening and enjoy Saturday, which is going to be spectacular.
We are, I believe we are going to have a discussion on the pedestrian improvement policy if you wanted to join us, or anybody else who's on the panel.
Oh yeah, I didn't get anything for it. Is there? Yeah. I guess I can hang for this.
Well, the next item on the agenda is the pedestrian improvement policy. I believe some of the board members are going to work offline on some items for that. Was there any progress made since last meeting?
Actually, we really didn't do anything since last meeting because it was ready to go the meeting before. We did agree on some changes. We deleted the sections having to do with minimum criteria. And there is no more requirement for projects that a sidewalk doesn't need to be. If there's already a sidewalk in place, there's no need for them to make a contribution. Really, basically, all this is a policy that the board would agree on, and you're all in agreement that moving forward, you're going to be asking each project to include pedestrian amenities, definitely across the frontage, but within the site also.
Katrina, I just have a quick question. Under section 5.4.5, it says proposed development or a redevelopment shall be designed with a forecast for the next 5 years from the time of application. Why is that? Why is a term of 5 years in there? What was the intent of that?
Where are you reading?
Section, what you have up there right there.
Yeah.
5.4.5, the first sentence, the proposed development and or redevelopment shall be designed with a forecast for the next 5 years. What was the intent of that?
I wasn't here when we adopted that language, but I would think that you're planning for, I don't know. I really don't know what it means.
So, all right, I'm going to take a guess that you're, again, if you're doing a traffic study, that you're projecting traffic volumes out 5 years. This is under traffic management and vehicular access. So I'm guessing that's what that is. I didn't know if someone else had, if anyone else knew what that meant.
And so again, this is really just adopting a policy statement so that everyone's on the same page, and so that everyone gets used to the fact that the ZBA will be looking for this in any projects that are submitted in the future.
And I would just, I guess, echo my comments from before that it has to be a nexus, and it's constitutionally inviolable to require something without there being an impact as a direct result of the property. It's constitutional law. I don't.
We're not asking for off-site improvements anymore. We're asking for on-site pedestrian improvements.
I know, and you can't ask people to provide on-site pedestrian improvements unless there's a requirement for it. So for example, if you have a building, which can happen in the middle of nowhere, pedestrian improvements, they're going to be constructing a walkway. Sometimes that's actually, how do you get one? Like, it's perfect example is Market Basket does have that sidewalk. Not that anybody ever uses it, but there is one, right? And you can put it in without impacting some of the travel paths, but it has to stop because you can't block traffic. And actually, they did develop it so the traffic does go out so that you get stuck in a certain area of the parking lot. Most properties don't have that beautiful area. They have like 10 acres. So it's impossible to put something like that in, literally impossible. Or I don't even know how sometimes you'd use them. So
my position on this is twofold. One, if we're a permit granting authority, and a Board of Appeals very often is making decisions, actually sometimes arbitrary decisions, based on the board's judgment. And so, if the board is issuing the permit, we ask for all sorts of things. And, we ask for all sorts of things. And if there's some sort of constitutional law that's associated with what we're talking about, I'd like to see it. I'd like to see where it says that you can't ask for a sidewalk.
I'll send it to you. You have to have a connection.
Okay, yeah, that.
I mean, it literally is, and you can never have an arbitrary decision.
Because if that were the case, then the fact that the town of Middleton adopted a complete streets policy in this case would be against constitutional law.
You're,
How can the town, excuse me, let me finish, please. Let me finish, please. I didn't interrupt you. Please don't interrupt me.
You actually did it. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Oh, I'm glad I have your permission. Thank you. So,
No problem.
Could you mute her, please, so I can finish what I want to say?
Go ahead, Rich.
So the town of Middleton adopted a complete streets policy. In that policy, it says that not only the town, but the development community shall accommodate all modes of transportation and shall accommodate pedestrians and bicycles, for that matter, to the maximum extent possible. And it says that it not only goes for municipal projects, but it goes for development projects. If anyone has not read the policy, our policy, the town of Middleton's policy, I would suggest you do so. So the fact that we're recommending, and again, the Board of Appeals could make a judgment when any project comes forward, whether it makes sense to include a sidewalk or not. That's up to the Board of Appeals. In some cases, we may say this doesn't make any sense, and in which case we would not require it. I think the intent of this policy, and Katrina, I don't want to put words in your mouth, you tell me, but the intent of this policy is to make the development community and applicants that come before the board to be mindful that we want to create a walkable community in Middleton. And that if you're doing a project and you have the room and it's a type of project that is going to have pedestrian activities, be advised that you're probably going to be asked to put a sidewalk in. Is that the intent of the policy, Katrina?
Exactly. And also what I highlighted in blue in the policy doesn't have to stay in the policy. I just wanted to make it clear to the board that they've always had the authority to ask for pedestrian amenities. It says right here that it is the board's duty to make sure that developments provide safe access and circulation on the site for expected vehicles, pedestrians, and emergency vehicles. And it says it in different sections too. There's all different sections in the zoning bylaw that gives the board the authority. For special permits, you can add any kind of reasonable conditions, safeguards, or limitations on time or use, including performance guarantees. You have all the authority you need to make developments what the residents here deserve. And I do think that we can improve on the developments that are being built today in Middleton.
It's a policy, not a bylaw. Is that right?
Right.
So relative to the complete street policy and the ability of Middleton to actually request the installation of sidewalks, still needs to be a nexus. So the proof is in the pudding that the reference was made to special permits. And with special permits, there's a different type of requirement. With site plan approval, it doesn't exist. That type of authority isn't there. And if you wanted to put this in place, an attempt to have criteria which required certain types of amenities to be added, that would actually require a regulation, which was not a policy. So a policy is something that's a suggested protocol, a following, a recommendation. If you actually wanted to be able to have a document that gave you teeth, you'd have to put it in a bylaw, which means the town has to approve it. So by that, I mean, neither Katrina nor I nor the board is entitled to tell Middleton how it's supposed to develop its property. That's a decision via the bylaw. It's just the way it is. The complete street policy is a wonderful thing. I mean, I like sidewalks, I walk. I'm just simply telling you that the policy is written I'll give you an example. Katrina basically just told you that every single project you brought before the board shall provide street amenities and shall provide sidewalks. That's not the case. And you don't want that because you have projects that can't provide sidewalks or don't want them, quite frankly, or don't need them. But you do need to provide safe pedestrian travel, and that is an important element of your role, an important element of your task. But that means being able to traverse from the parking lot to the building safely. That doesn't mean to provide sidewalks so somebody can, I don't know what. I mean, I guess come into the property and walk it. I guess that's what it's for. I don't really know. I don't know what the plan would be for privately owned parcels.
Should applicants mitigate traffic?
Explain to me what you mean.
Should applicants mitigate traffic? If they have
Explain to me what you mean.
traffic,
Like,
should
I
they
don't know.
mitigate traffic?
I truly, I'm not being facetious. What do you mean? Mitigate in what circumstance? Like, I don't.
If they have,
Yeah.
all right, so here's the circumstance, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
So any development, when it's finished, the traffic impact should be the same or better. If they have an impact on traffic, should they mitigate traffic?
No. So you mean impact because you're not, if you said to me they actually created an issue and caused problems, yes. Everything causes a change in traffic. A single family home does because it generates 9 trips a day. So no, absolutely not. It needs to be that beyond which is what was reasonably anticipated. That's the criteria, which is why special permits and site plans are so different in their application. So site plans are simply bumped up, for lack of a better term, building permits, right? That's all they are. But special permits are uses that need your insight, your oversight, your input. That's what special permits mean, that it's above what was normally to be expected on a property. So that's why I asked. I didn't know what you meant by mitigation. You mean a special use, like a variance or something that is not what was anticipated when the town voted for by right uses.
I have a question for Ann with an E. Ann with the E. So you did hundreds of development projects over your career.
Big ones, yes.
Big ones. Did the communities in which you were doing those developments, did they require things like sidewalks and traffic mitigation and those sorts of things?
So yes, we've chatted about this before, but all this went on prior because I was the architect and the construction person. So all the agreements went on beforehand. I don't know how they were reached, but yes, developers, big commercial developers provided lots of amenities to locales and towns and cities. But I don't know how it was done. I don't know the legal mechanism for it. I don't know if it was a wink and a handshake. I think it might have been. I don't know.
So how about this? Because I really didn't expect that Attorney Mann would be here arguing every point on this. What if I asked town council to write an opinion on whether or not he thinks this is legal? Because I do disagree with Ms. Mann, no offense, but you have your authority. It's written right and it's right before your eyes. That's the authority the board has to ask for pedestrian amenities. It's very simple. And if the board needs that before they adopt this policy, I can ask town council to just write something.
I strongly
an opinion.
I mean, I do, because you do have the right to ask for pedestrian amenities, but the law is clear that it has to relate to the impact of the project. Like,
right, it does. I agree. That's all this is saying, that you are asking for pedestrian amenities to mitigate any effects that the project will have.
Right, but you can't. You said specifically to put them in place for everything. That's what got me confused. So I honestly haven't had a chance to read this, Katrina. I didn't expect to stay for this either. I really didn't. So all due respect, it could be perfect. It really could be perfect. I haven't read it. I read it the first time. I'm here because Craig said, do you want to stay for it? And I made my piece the first time. I read what you wrote the first time. What was written the first time was not legally tenable, in my opinion. And I asked for town council to actually issue an opinion. I said that you should do that. I think Jay would be a great resource.
Hey,
There
at the end of the
must be a way
day,
to
at the
do
end of the day, if we wrote a condition that they had to do this, the courts could figure it out if it came to that.
The
But
Attorney
I
General.
would agree with you, Katrina, to have town council take a look at it.
Yeah, I think that's a good approach. By the
He,
way,
he actually already has looked at it, but I'll have him do it in writing.
guys, Ann Cody texted me. She lost her internet, so
Oh,
she's okay. She just can't get back online.
yeah, she lives up in
Yeah, up in the hinterlands.
hinterlands of Middleton.
I think I just had a bomb dropped on my head. Okay, cool. I
I
think it's time for
little
someone.
kids. You always
Yeah,
have
it's time for
bombs.
someone's little kids to go to bed so they're not dropping things over my head. All right, so I guess I'll make a motion to table this till the next meeting.
And I
Pending.
won't be here at the next meeting.
All right, so we'll table this till June, and at that time, we should have a response from town council on their thoughts, and we can go from there.
So move to table.
Second.
Vote. Yes.
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 I vote yes as
Yeah.
well.
Good night, guys. Sorry for being
night, Jen.
opposed, but I
Good night, attorney man.
take care.
Thank
Like
you.
I said, enjoy Saturday.
Are there any items not reasonably anticipated in the last 48 hours by me? Nope. I will make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Vote.
I'll
Yes.
second.
I vote yes.
Guys, have a good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.